My belief is there's no such thing as a qualified lead. And I think that we try so much to qualify leads before they even walk in the door that we miss the fact that they were just interested. That's all a lead is. They're just interested people. Has anybody ever heard a parent say, I'm not sure I want to waste that kind of money on my kid? It's free. There is no waste. Unfortunately, parents come to us uneducated the way that we're educated, right? So we have to change their verbiage, the ways that they talk to their kids, the way they interact. It's not a waste, it's an investment. They don't see it as that yet. So you've got to get them over that hurdle. Easiest way is to offer free. Has anybody ever had a parent or come to you and say, you saved my child's life? You have? I have. Have you ever had an adult student come to you and tell you that they were about to delete themselves and you got them help? I have. If I didn't follow up on that lead, if I didn't have my team follow up on that lead, I never would have been able to impact their life. Now maybe you don't literally save their life, but maybe you ultimately change their life, which is saving their life. Typically what they'll do is they'll ask, what's the offer that's going to get me the most amount of qualified leads? And I used to ask the same question, because I can tell you, we've done it all. I remember the flyers on mailboxes and sweating in Georgia heat and doing I remember during those days, I understand why Chris didn't want to do them, because that Georgia heat and humidity, whew, it's something. But what you really should be asking, instead of what's the best offer, is which offer gets someone to do two things. Lean in, raise their hand. Those are the two things that we want to really get them to do. We want them to lean in. If you're here and everybody's talking at the same time, you kind of come over to a group and you're not sure what they're talking about, usually you, what? Lean in. You lean into that conversation. When you have some interest in something, you have a question, what do? Raise your hand, that's right. And that's what we want prospects to do. That's what we want our leads to do. So, when we do that, when we're able to have them do that, that is when we know we've got the right offer, okay? So, we've done a lot, 6 weeks for 69, 4 weeks for 49, 2 weeks for 29, you name it. I've done every single offer under the sun, and that's why when I say that we found the best one, I really mean it, because we've just done a ton of different things. So, if you were constantly going out trying to figure out what the missing ingredient is, I want to let you know that it's not necessarily something that is going to be the magic key or pill that suddenly your doors open and everything is just amazing and you have hundreds of students signing up. What it is consistency, and it led me to discover that the main thing was a simple ratio. A ratio is all I had to keep in mind when it came to hitting my enrollment goals. Because you are going to have that mix of marketing. You're going to have those different things. The ratio allowed me, though, to go, well, if I want 20 students signing up, how many leads do I actually need? Raise your hand if you know how many leads you need for 20 students. A few people? Okay. Everybody in here should be able to do it by the end of today. I'm going to give you a ratio, and you're going to be able to go tackle that and go do it right away. It's 7-to-1. 7-to-1. This is an average. This is considering that you might get leads from Facebook and Instagram, you might get leads from your website, you might get leads from walk-ins, referrals, etc. And this is an average ratio. That means that if you are a killer, you crush it, you might do better than 7-to-1. That means you might be, let's say you're a newbie, you work a full-time job, you have very little to do with marketing. Your ratio might be higher than 7-to-1. The average that we've seen across our clients is a 7-to-1 ratio. 7 leads to 1 enrollment. I have some schools, they've got 4-to-1, I've got other schools that are 10-to-1, etc. So you guys get the idea. So here's what I look at when it comes to enrolling students. I anticipate that there's going to be people that are much better appointment setters than others. There's going to be people that are much better at sales than others. And there's going to be people that are better at getting others to show up. And so when we're looking at these averages, 40% of the leads that you get, especially if they're colder leads or on Facebook or Instagram, they're going to be the ones that you set appointments with. Especially if you're able to hit that speed to lead, that's really important as well. If you get that 50% of them to show up, and then you get a minimum of 60% of them to enroll, then you're going to hit that 7-to-1 ratio over and over again. So again, I ask you, how many leads does it take to get 20 students? Simple math. 140. Good. How many does it take to get 30? 210. Simple math. If your goal was, instead of like, I need to sign up 10 students, was to get the correct amount of leads, was to get 70 leads, everything would change inside your school. Then it becomes, oh my gosh, that's a lot of leads, Jennifer. Why not just 10 leads, 10 students? A couple of reasons for this. And I do have unconventional beliefs about leads, so I'll just share that with you right now. My belief is there's no such thing as a qualified lead. And I think that we try so much to qualify leads before they even walk in the door that we miss the fact that they were just interested. That's all a lead is. They're just interested people. That's it. It's your job to take that interest and to expand it and get that person to take one step closer to you, another step closer to you, and finally to walk in your door. But in the beginning, you just need their name, their phone number, their email address. Okay? That is one of the things that I would say. Because when you humanize someone like that and you say, okay, you're a lead, and here's the deal. If you're really good at this, for example, when we call people sometimes and their child doesn't meet the minimum age requirement, their child is 2.5. Most of us would say that's not a qualified lead. They're 2.5. Like if you start classes at 4 like us. What we do instead is we go, okay, they're 2.5. We mark down the calendar. We call them back before their child has the 4th birthday. And guess what? We're the only school in town that did that. And guess what? They enroll. Were they qualified? Were they not qualified? Or were they just a lead? Or just a lead that became a student? So I figured out that leads don't have to cost me an arm and a leg. And I needed that offer, like I was talking about earlier, to actually get enormous amounts of traction. And the offer that I found and that we utilize across all of our schools is simple, it is easy, and it's fast. It works right along with the whole thing that SKILLZ is talking about, because once you do this, you open up the floodgates. Okay, so, how are we going? Oh my gosh, what is the offer? What is it, Jennifer? What is it? I need to know! I'll tell you. Okay, so the offer is a free introductory and evaluation lesson. Very, very important that you use the word evaluation. How many of you heard Melody talk about the SKILLZ evaluation? Raise your hands. Several of you heard that. If you were just taking the kid and throwing them in class and hoping that they have a great experience, that they enroll in your school, the likelihood that they're going to do that is very low. Now let's do this. Let's say that you have a competitor in your area, and that competitor has an evaluation. They have a semi-private or a private lesson that they take the student through, and you don't. What makes you different? Not really a whole lot, except for the fact that one is doing an evaluation, the other one's doing just throw you out in the free class. I like this relationship better. They had more value for me. I'm going to go with it. We want to have that. We want to be able to do that. So I've seen it by far crush it when it comes to lead volume. Now, if you do paid trials, it's going to slow people down a lot because they're having to put money in it. But then you kind of get into the thing that Steven was talking about a little bit earlier. You get people that are price shopping for deals. Oh, it's 2 weeks for $29. I want to go do that. But they're not really thinking about committing to you for long term. With the free lesson, it kills a ton of objections. Okay, and these are the objections that it overcomes really easily. The first one is time. When you tell someone it's an introductory and evaluation lesson, you tell them it's about 45 minutes to an hour in length. Oh, it's not that long. Okay, I think I could do that. I think I could work with that, right? Sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, how long is this trial going to take? It's 2 weeks long. Oh, I don't know if I can do this with all the other activities we've got going on. It must be like a 2-hour class. Parents have odd expectations. Second thing that it kills is that money objection. Okay? Has anybody ever heard a parent say, I'm not sure I want to waste that kind of money on my kid? It's free. There is no waste. Unfortunately, parents come to us uneducated the way that we're educated, right? So we have to change their verbiage, the ways that they talk to their kids, the way they interact. It's not a waste, it's an investment, but they don't see it as that yet. So you've got to get them over that hurdle. Easiest way is to offer free. And it's only one lesson. It literally is just one lesson. It's not a long-term commitment. You're not asking them to sign up for 6 months. You're asking them to come for one introductory lesson. That's it. All right. So here's what we got to do in order to convert those leads. You got the leads. What are we going to do to convert the leads? Secret number 2. All right, here we go. You're ready for secret number 2. We're going to do the black belt meter right here. Does anybody do black belt meter in your school? Yeah? What? You know it? You're the only one, Cameron. All right, so here's how it works. I'm going to ask you guys to cheer. This is white belt. This is black belt. Oh. See where you're at. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, let's try it again. You guys got like orange belt. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! One more. You can make it to black belt. Cameron, is it this fun in class usually?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Wait, yes.
Yes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Good. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about the 3-2-1 conversion method. This is what we use in our school to convert leads like crazy into students. And this is what I teach my clients who are doing high 6 figures and 7 figures as well. So what I want you to think about is that whole responsiveness that Chris was talking about earlier, that Stephen was talking about earlier. You can't wait. You can't wait to follow up on the leads. You've got to be able to break through the noise, the things that are happening right now, day to day. You've got to be able to get through that. Did y'all know this stat that a lead is 100 times more likely to pick up or respond if you call or text within the first 5 minutes? Dang. What happened to the old days where somebody looked you up in the yellow pages, left a voicemail, and you called them back the next day, and they were like, I'm so glad you called. I was waiting on your call. They're gone. They left a long time ago. And did you know that the likelihood of setting an appointment is 21 times less likely to happen when waiting 30 minutes or more to respond? 21 times less likely. So how do you get around that? Have automations, be ready to be on the phones. You got to do these things. I'm going to give you a simple 3-2-1 method that we found works really well. But before I do that, I need to kind of have a heart-to-heart with you. A lot of times, school owners, in my experience, only call 2 times before they give up. I called them, they didn't answer. I texted them, they didn't answer. I sent them an email, they didn't answer. It's not enough. You're wasting your marketing dollars, like what Chris was saying earlier. You got to be able to follow up on those leads. So important for you to do this. Because if you don't, you could have taken that money and literally given it all to your students instead. That probably would have been a better use of it. So, this system that I'm going to show you guys, the 3-2-1 conversion method, for 3 days, you need to call 3 times a day. 2 text messages a day for 3 days, and 1 voicemail every day for 3 days. I want you to do this with your leads, and you're going to see your results skyrocket. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, isn't that annoying? Isn't that going to make them not want to do business with me because I'm calling them so frequently? I want you to think about this. I live in Augusta, Georgia. We have an established school. It's been there since 1982. I met someone the other day, and they asked me what I did, and I said I own a martial arts school in Augusta. It's called SKILLZ. Have you ever heard of it? And they were like, nope. I met another person. You ever heard of it? Nope. And we advertise. We do have a set marketing budget. We advertise thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month. And I guarantee you that in your town, people don't know you exist. You're not annoying because you're not a big enough fish yet in the pond. They just don't know you exist. Your duty, guys, if you don't call this lead, if they don't sign up for classes, that kid is going to go through life without you as a mentor. That person isn't going to get the self-defense necessary to be able to defend themselves. Has anybody ever had a parent or come to you and say, you saved my child's life? You have? I have. Have you ever had an adult student come to you and tell you that they were about to delete themselves and you got them help? I have. If I didn't follow up on that lead, if I didn't have my team follow up on that lead, I never would have been able to impact their life. Now, maybe you don't literally save their life, but maybe you ultimately change their life, which is saving their life. Some other times you might think to yourself, well, dang, that's a lot of work. Back in the day, we actually brought in that sales team. That person that was calling, that was a huge part of what they were doing, was calling. So how do you get from where you are to 7 figures? You put in that work. You do the work. And you might be thinking to yourself, man, I don't know if I can keep track of that, right? Is it possible to do that? It is. There's plenty of softwares out there, but if you don't have software, use a Google Sheet. Think about how many students said, I don't know if I can make it a black belt because it's a lot of work. How many people have told you, I'm not sure my kid's going to stick with it because I don't think they can have enough focus or attention to stick with it. And you're like, I can help them. I can make sure that they do it. And the parent's like, nah, it's just too much. Sometimes as business owners, we do that too with the things that are most important to grow our business. So we got to make sure that we change that around. And this one is one of my favorites. I don't want people to know me as that school, that salesy, pushy school. Again, I'm going to show you something in a moment that hopefully is going to change your mind around sales. But the first thing we have to do is to understand that marketing ends and sales begin at the point where you get their information, that name, that phone number, and that email address. So I'm going to give you the right hook of reality. Rich Grogan, one of our friends in my podcast, he says, I'm going to give you the right hook of reality. Okay, the right hook of reality is this. Growing a business is not easy. And I know all of us know that, but we got to be able to put in the work to make it happen. We got to build the systems in order to do that. So let's do this. Let's keep in mind that you're not as well-branded as you think you are, and over-communicate. Over-communicate all the time. Reach out to those leads. It's your duty to get them involved. It's your duty to bring them in here. And these are all just minimums. You don't have to stop at 3 days. We don't. We keep following up for longer than that. But when I'm working with schools, when they first come on board with me and my team, this is the minimum that I start them off on, so that they can get used to the habit. Once they get used to the habit, it skyrockets stuff from there. Because you can do more. You should do more. It's your goal in order to do that. Now, secret number 3. To convert those leads, you've got to work on conversational selling. Here's what I found, and this is what I used to do. Most school owners' sales presentations kind of go like this. Mr. Daniel, come on up here. All right. So here's how most school owner presentations go. So he comes in, and you're looking for classes for your son or your daughter?
My son.
Okay, great. How old is he?
He's 5.
Okay, awesome, cool. Well, we have our 5-year-old class. It's starting pretty soon. Yeah, just let me know if you have any questions.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Do you have any questions for me?
How much do you charge?
Oh yeah, so it's unlimited classes. You can do unlimited classes where you can do 2 times a week. 2 times a week is a little bit more expensive than unlimited. We give you a discount. And if you do the 2 classes a week, it's going to put you on an A-B schedule. So you just have to choose like what days you want to come. We've got Monday at this time, or we got Tuesday at that time. And that price for that one is $175. If you do a 12-month contract, we knock it down to $169. If you do a 6-month contract, we knock it down to $149. And if you go month to month, then it actually is more expensive. It's $200. So I recommend that you just do, 12 months. Or are you thinking the unlimited option might be better for you? Like, how interested is he in classes?
I don't know. I just wanted to come and see if he liked it.
Okay, well, yeah, he's gonna love it. He's gonna love it. So, listen, if you're thinking about doing the unlimited, I do have a special. It ends like yesterday, but I can extend it for you. And it's only $99 to get started. I'll actually, these uniforms, I'll actually include the uniform and everything. It's $99 if you do it today.
I think I just want to take some time to sleep on it.
Okay, cool. We'll be here tomorrow. We open up at 2 o'clock. Okay, that's what happens a lot of times. Okay? That's what happens. First, and listen, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's your front desk team member that's doing that. Maybe you would have done something different, but your front desk team member doesn't know all the things that need to happen to actually convert that lead. You spent all that time. You spent all that money. You followed up on everybody. But then this happened. So how do you get around that? Appreciate it. So it should be more like this, okay? I'm going to give you these points, and I want you to be able to write them down. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about this. You want to be able to have what's called conversational selling. And there's 5 points. The emotional why. This is the first thing that needs to happen. Why does this person need your martial arts classes, right? So if he's bringing his son in for 5 years old, like why? My first question is, sure, we can definitely help you with that. Is there something in particular that you're looking for? Like a lot of parents come to us because they want their child to improve in focus or maybe a little bit more in confidence. Tell me a little bit more about your son. Oh, he's everywhere. And I heard that martial arts would help. Okay, cool. Well, we can definitely see about, evaluating him, see where he would fall in our programs. Let me ask you something. This is the second point. Everybody write down pain to progress. Let me ask you something. If we were able to help Johnny with his focus, you mentioned he has these focus issues, where would you want the most help? Like, is it at home or is it at school? Or is it like when you're giving him directions? Oh, well, it's at school, he's getting in trouble. His teachers are always saying that he's just interrupting all the time. Okay, gotcha. And so for you, what would that progress look like? Oh, well, I want him to come home and not be getting in trouble every day. Okay, gotcha. So if we were able, this is future casting, if we were able to help Johnny go from getting in trouble every day at school to coming home and saying, Mom, I did great in school today, and the teacher gave me a smiley face on my folder, would that help? Oh, that would be amazing if you could do that. Awesome. Time to goal. This is gonna be the next point. When you have this time to goal, this is gonna vary. How long is it gonna take that transformation to happen? I'm just curious, what would you guys say? 5-year-old comes in, he's interrupting all the time, in your own schools. Raise your hand. How long would that take for that to start happening? 2 months? 3 months? 4 months? 3 months? How many of you test every 3 to 4 months? So like one belt cycle, it's gonna change. How powerful is that? In one belt cycle, it's gonna change. So, ma'am, I can tell you right now, we have students that join our program all the time. And sir, we have students that join all the time in our program, and within 3 months before their first belt, this is exactly what happens. Is it okay if I were to take you through an introductory and evaluation lesson and actually show you how we do this? Oh yeah, that'd be great. Set an appointment. Get them to come in. And then the last piece right here is ROI. ROI stands for return on investment. Do you know that when parents come and they invest money into your program that they expect an ROI? I think we know that, right? But an ROI should be tangible, right? If I invest money into marketing, I should be getting a return. If I invest money in the stock market, I should be getting a return. So if a parent invests money with you, they should be getting a return. And you've got to be able to demonstrate what that return looks like. The best way I've been able to do that is by either telling a story about another student and someone else's investment, playing a testimonial during the intro lesson, or showing our entire testimonial wall before the introductory lesson. They need to see the ROI. They have to know how long it's going to take. They want to see that transformation from beginning to end. These are the things that will actually convert them. When you take that evaluation out and you use that evaluation during the intro lesson and you show the parent where this child is actually at on that scale, oh my gosh, the value is exponential. Once they can see what the payoff will be, then it becomes very easy for them to invest into the learning, into the education of their child. Thumbs up if that's making sense. Awesome. So I'm going to leave you guys with a couple of final thoughts here. To grow, you have to be a shark. Think about that. What do sharks do in order to stay living? What do? They're always moving. They're always growing. They're always moving forward. If they stop moving, they die. They don't get oxygen. You've got to keep doing that in your own business. And these are the things that I've seen. Below average school owners do not grow their schools for the following reasons. They don't grow their schools for the same reasons that students quit. You know those students that quit and they say the following things. They say, oh, I have other activities that I'm doing, right? Do you know that as school owners, we kind of get drawn into those other activities?